said, "Are you ready?" And she's got up and ran away. I'm just going to tell you this. Okay, so we're in York.
We're in York, in the UK,
Yes.
England.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is we're like also in like the second cutest the cutest. No, this is cuter. It's cuter than the place.
It is
outside of Philly.
Yeah, this is like the best Airbnb we've ever stayed at. Of course, we've only stayed at a few together.
I know, but this is so nice.
By this time next year, we should have like 20 more.
I actually rank this one really highly of all the Airbnbs I've ever stayed in.
You know who found it?
You did. She also had us stay in like this crazy hostel. Why would you do that? Because you bragged. I had to like bring you back down.
But you had to stay in that place.
Sure. I know I did. It's true.
So one thing I said is, what do you want to talk about in Farrar? And you said something's been bugging you a lot lately, and you just need to discuss it. This is our therapy.
Oh, is that what this is? I feel like I've seen more parents be a little all up in the essay this year. And not just us, but we're hearing that from colleagues too.
And we have thoughts on why that is.
We do actually, which is that we think it's the pandemic. Yeah. I mean, it's such an easy thing to blame everything on the pandemic.
It is, but it's not just the essay. Lots of people are talking about other things too. We're just noticing the essay, but it seems to be the pandemic had this effect that's just causing parents to have a lot of anxiety about some things and being all in the kids' business.
I mean, I think that it created a different kind of relationship between kids and parents, which is actually really positive in some way.
Yeah.
Like, these kids, like, they have great relationships with their parents in a lot of cases.
Yeah, yeah.
Which actually I really appreciate.
They like to be around them.
Yeah, like they all like each other. We're seeing some of that in the positive, but then there's this flip side, right? Like where some of the parents then feel like a level of ownership about things,
or they just have a lot of anxiety.
They have they have their own anxiety and the kids' anxiety.
Yeah.
Or something.
Something's happening. They've become intertwined. And so a lot of parents are getting involved in the kids' essays. One thing we're seeing is that it's after the process, like after we think they're done and we're like, it's good. And then a parent will email us and be like, no.
Well, I have seen that a couple times.
No, I've seen that.
I mean, so it's at different moments, right? Like sometimes it's like, the parent is suddenly anxious about every topic.
Right.
They're anxious about, or it's different. Like some parents are anxious about the topics. Some parents are anxious about the writing. The writing, like line by line.
Yeah.
Other parents are just sort of just like up in the process, which it's okay sometimes, but not a lot of the time. It's
editing.
This is why it should be your kid's own process, right? Because
because it's supposed to be.
First of all, it's supposed to be, and then second of all, there's these different elements. Like one is where I think the things that parents see in their kid are not the same as what the kid wants to put out there, and what
the kid sees in themselves,
right?
Too,
exactly,
right? Like you,
and so there's
inner life.
Exactly. And so the kids should have an opportunity to do that and be themselves.
And express themselves.
Exactly.
In their voice.
And then additionally, sometimes the thing that the parent thinks is going to be so amazing is something that admissions has seen already so many times that it's just trite.
Yeah. And sometimes when a parent tries to force a kid to write that, it's even worse, right? Because it's not in their voice.
Like they don't weird synergy of bad.
It's not good.
Whereas when the kid brings it to the table, it's like, okay. And then sometimes it ends up working out well because it's not like, this is the difficult thing about essays is that, there's only so many topics, especially, and kids only have so many life experiences.
Especially when they spent 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 from the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah. And so there's only so many things they can write about. And so, of course, there are certain narratives that they're going to tell over and over. Right. And that's okay. Like admissions knows that. It's not necessarily bad.
No. No, especially if the writing's good, if it's
Mhm.
in the kid's voice, and if it's a story they want to tell.
Right. I think that comes through. It's sort of the same as with AI,
Yeah, which plays into this.
where you can kind of tell it's like there's something missing. Like
Mhm.
it's good,
It's
but
like
there's
it's
just
off.
something missing. It's off.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time when the parent has written it, it's the same kind of thing for different reason. But admissions isn't thinking that way. And they're on to that when it sounds like it's like a parental kind of voice. They're like, well, kids don't talk like this.
And it's not just if a parent writes it. If it's a parent goes in and edits a bit and changes here and there, it could take away totally this voice of the kid. Or if the parent's like so guiding the topic
Mhm.
and then the kid's reluctant to even write it, they can kind of tell that too. It's just,
I have to tell you, like, I try not to. I mean, there's certain things that I push kids to do, but I mean, this also gets to like a too many cooks thing. Like, if
oh
you're the
yeah.
one who's guiding your kid, then I think that's okay. Like, somebody has to do it.
Yeah, especially if you can't afford.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
absolutely. Whoever's doing it, you don't want to have 10 people reading it because then it reads like a committee wrote it, which
Is
also
odd.
doesn't read like a
No, that's
like a
odd.
kid's voice.
No.
You know?
I would also say too, sometimes the kids just want to do this all on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done their own research and they're pretty, confident
Mm-hmm.
in their writing abilities and they don't want to show the parent their essay.
Mm-hmm.
I think that needs to be respected.
I do too.
There's reasons why they don't want to show it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going off to college in what, 6 months, 8 months, something.
They're about to be independent.
Yeah, and if they don't want to share their college essay, you're just gonna have to trust it.
I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not No one else needs to see it at all.
I think then you say, I just want to make sure that you're not writing about law breaking. I mean, I'm
Let's
serious,
cover some things you're not allowed to talk about, even if you think it's funny. Because
Oh
sometimes,
yeah,
yeah,
no.
like,
But on the other hand, being funny is fine. And I've seen parents be real hesitant about
right.
it. Like, oh my gosh, it can't be this funny.
Or
Like,
being real cerebral and talking about something that's just like like my youngest sons.
oh yeah, I think a cerebral essay works for some
Yeah,
kids.
but I think some parents don't get that either.
I think it has to be about the student. It can't just
Yeah.
be like academic.
No, definitely.
And I think that again,
It's
yeah,
fine.
respect it.
Yeah,
I guess it's
respect the adult you're about to have,
yes.
and maybe you already have because some of these kids are 18.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you just gotta respect it. Don't worry about it. Like, don't. Your anxiety is not their anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really big lesson. Like, you may have a ton of anxiety around this whole process, especially if you're a homeschool parent and you've got to do your side of things and you want to make sure they get into the college. And
Mm-hmm.
did you homeschool right? And did you provide them with a good education?
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't need to be their anxiety at all. That's not them.
I think it's also, I think, the essay is important, I will say. Like, I truly believe that. And we have seen it where, in particular, really standout essays can help kids get a boost.
Yeah.
But it's also the case that, like a typo in an essay or a line not being perfect,
Right.
or, some of these little things, they don't keep kids out of even Ivy League schools.
No.
They just don't. It is not, it's just not like that.
That's not what they're looking for.
No.
They're not reading it to catch a small mistake. That's
No.
not that's not
Oh my gosh. Every once in a while there's an essay, like there's a tiny number of essays where it boosts the student, and that's great, but even then it's not like
It's just
every line is
no,
perfect or every,
no.
or like anything like that. It's just that, and it's every single time that I've read an essay where I really felt like this helped a student's chances at a school, it really came from within that kid.
Yeah.
And not one of those times did a parent
No.
or like, or a cousin who,
Or
went to
three
such and such
different
schools,
people.
or like so and so's
Yeah.
old roommate, like
Yeah.
it never was the case that
No.
those that
Actually, I don't think it's ever been that.
no,
I don't think we've ever no.
not a single one of my
Yeah.
favorite essays that I talk about, like when I do essay workshops and
Yeah.
things like that, not a single one of them had a parent fingers in it at all that I could tell.
Yeah.
And then there's a small number of essays that do hurt a kid because they don't fit the picture, or they don't they
They're
just don't
obviously-
sound like
yeah.
the student's voice.
Right.
I mean,
Or
it's
the
just
topic isn't
the
right.
topic is
Yeah.
it hurts them.
But I would
It's just
say,
so that's pretty rare.
I would just also keep in mind too, that the essay is just one part of the application.
It's a small,
and,
one small
and
part.
it's not worth
I think
all
people
this
get to this
parents going
And
crazy.
it's one of the few things left that they can control.
Yeah.
Everything else is set. You know, the test scores are set, the GPA is set, the coursework you
Yeah.
did junior year is set, the courses you're doing now in senior year are set. So this feels like the last thing you can control.
And it's got to be right. And it's
But
gotta,
all those other things matter
so much.
so much more.
Yeah.
And this is just a little,
Yeah.
so it's sort of like it almost is like, obsessing about like one single class from 2 years ago or something. Like it's not quite that unimportant, but like it
No.
is.
It's not the end all of everything.
No.
And parents, you have a lot of anxiety.
Mhm.
This is the end. Just enjoy the last year of homeschooling. And let this be. And my biggest advice is, if it's in the kid's voice
Mhm.
and it reflects everything the kid's done,
Mhm.
they're going to end up where they're meant to be.
Sometimes if they're strong math students,
They can have a quirky.
it's gonna be like, oh, this essay's just okay. Like,
Or sometimes they're quirky and kind of interesting from some of our math students, because they have a whole different
yeah,
way of doing
sometimes
it.
it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like those too.
I do too.
Yeah. But again, that reflects the student
Oh, absolutely.
and what they've done and who they are and
Yep.
everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
Those are good. Okay. Anything else about essays? Because I know that was bugging you.
It was. I think it just is the anxiety. So no, I don't think so. I
Okay.
think that's it.
Okay.
I
All
said
right.
my piece.
Okay. You've had your piece. All right.
Wait, I feel like we weren't funny enough.